Welcome to the deep dive. We're here again to sort of cut through all the noise. We take a whole stack of sources, articles, research, expert notes, and we try to pull out the absolute must-know info for you.
That's cool.
And today we're tackling something really tough, I think, but also super important: how you actually choose a super specialty medical center.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you, or maybe somebody you love is dealing with, a complex diagnosis or these chronic conditions, things that need care that's just beyond the usual. Well, it's not like just picking a hospital from a website list.
Right.
It's really about finding that very specific, focused expertise. And honestly, the stakes are incredibly high. So having the right information, it's just crucial in that moment.
Okay, let's break that down then. What exactly makes a center super specialty, and how do you even know if that's what you need? It sounds like it's not for, a regular checkup.
Exactly, not at all. Think of them more like facilities that really drill down deep into specific areas of medicine. They focus intensely on particular organ systems maybe, or certain diseases.
Okay.
So they offer care that is just incredibly specialized. And that means, well, not just staff with really advanced expertise in these narrow fields, but also having the specific, often cutting-edge infrastructure that you need for that kind of care.
So it's less about just being a big hospital and more about that depth of focus.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The sources we looked at, they highlight some common areas where you find this kind of, let's say, intense focus. Things like cardiology and cardiothoracic surgery for really complex heart problems. Neurology and neurosurgery, obviously for brain and nervous system conditions, oncology for cancer, gastroenterology and hepatology, so digestive and liver diseases.
Right.
Nephrology and urology for kidney and urinary stuff, endocrinology for hormonal disorders, and orthopedic superspecialty, too, that often covers things like complex joint replacements or, say, spine surgery.
Got it. That makes sense. So when does that level of focus become, necessary? What are the signs that you should be looking beyond your usual doctor or hospital?
Well, you should definitely be thinking about a super specialty center if the condition you're facing is complex, maybe chronic, or potentially life-threatening.
Okay.
Also, if you've already tried treatments and they haven't really worked, or if you need diagnostic tests or procedures that are highly advanced, things that aren't available everywhere.
Right.
And crucially, I think, if you're facing a really major medical decision and you feel you need a second opinion from someone who has deep, specific expertise in that one area.
There was a really key line from the sources that jumped out at me, and I think it's important for people listening. Super specialty doesn't mean expensive. It means focused, high-end care when you need it most.
Yes, that's such an important point.
It kind of reframes it, doesn't it? It's not about finding the fanciest building, maybe, but the most relevant, specific expertise for what you're dealing with.
Exactly. It helps you focus on seeking the most appropriate, the most focused care for your unique situation, making sure you've got access to the best knowledge, the best tools for that specific challenge.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So let's say you're in that position, you realize you need this focused care. What should you actually be evaluating? The sources kind of gave us a checklist. Where do we begin?
We absolutely have to start with the people, the actual humans delivering the care.
Right. The team.
Yeah, the qualifications of the medical team are just paramount.
Yeah.
You need to look for specialists who are board certified, definitely, but also critically, who have extensive hands-on experience, specifically in the area of your condition. Experience really, really matters in these complex fields.
And it's not just about finding one-star doctor, is it? What did the sources say about the whole team aspect?
Yeah, that really stood out. The emphasis on the entire team. So not just the main surgeon or the lead physician, but the nurses, the technicians, the support staff. Their experience matters too. And maybe most importantly, how well they work together. That seamless collaboration.
Okay.
In these complex care situations, a truly integrated, multidisciplinary approach is vital. The sources even mentioned something called a multidisciplinary case conference facility.
Okay, well, what does that actually mean? Like, for someone listening, how does a case conference facility actually impact their care?
Right. So basically, it's a setup where experts from different relevant fields, say, for a cancer patient, maybe the surgeon, the oncologist, the radiologist, the pathologist, they all meet regularly, specifically to discuss complex patient cases together.
Ah.
It makes sure that, every angle of your condition is considered.
Hmm.
It leads to a much more comprehensive, personalized treatment plan because it's developed collaboratively, not just one person's opinion in isolation.
Wow. Yeah, that collaborative part sounds incredibly important when things are complicated. Okay, so beyond the team, what else is really critical to look at?
Next up, you absolutely need to look at the infrastructure and the technology they have available.
Right.
These centers, they just require truly state-of-the-art equipment.
And what kind of tech are we actually talking about? Why does it matter so much in this super specialty context? Is it just bells and whistles?
No, not at all. It's about tools that enable extreme precision and advanced capabilities.
Mm.
The sources mention things like robotic surgery systems, right?
Yeah.
Which allow for minimally invasive procedures, much more precise, and advanced imaging, high-res MRI, CT scans, angiograms, PET-CT scans. These aren't just, fancy gadgets.
Okay.
They're tools that give incredibly detailed diagnostic information,
Mm.
or they allow for treatments that are maybe less traumatic, faster recovery times compared to older methods. Access to specialized or maybe even experimental treatments could also be relevant,
Yeah.
depending on the situation.
Makes sense.
But, and this is fascinating, something absolutely non-negotiable when the stakes are this high
Mm-hmm.
is stringent infection control, hygiene practices.
Ah, yeah, good point.
Yeah, given that these centers often treat really vulnerable patients, maybe with compromised immune systems, asking about their sterilization protocols, their infection rates, it's vital, like a fundamental layer of safety you have to check on.
Okay, so amazing expertise, cutting edge tools, and this rock solid commitment to safety. What about external validation? Does accreditation actually mean anything tangible for the patient?
Oh, absolutely it does, yeah. Accreditation isn't just some plaque on the wall. It's a signal, a strong signal, that the center voluntarily meets high, externally verified standards for care, safety, and quality.
Okay.
Think of it like a really thorough external audit of their whole system. It provides that layer of assurance that the right processes, the right protocols are actually in place.
And the sources mentioned a couple of key names, didn't they, globally?
Yes, Joint Commission International, or JCI, it was highlighted as a really recognized global leader. Their mission is to enable and affirm the highest standards for all. They've accredited, I think it's over 1,000 programs now in more than 70 countries. And there are standards, including these critical international patient safety goals. They're known for being incredibly rigorous.
Okay.
So choosing a JCI-accredited center means they've met that global benchmark for quality and safety systems.
And what about specifically for India? Was there an equivalent mentioned?
Yes. For India, the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers, NABH, is a key one. It's part of the Quality Council of India, QCI.
Okay.
And NABH sets benchmarks specifically for the health industry in India, making sure facilities meet standards comparable to international ones for quality and patient safety.
Right.
The sources also mentioned NABL accreditation for labs, making sure the testing equipment itself is up to standard. Also important.
Right. The sources listed some potential benefits of accreditation, like maybe it helps the hospital team work better together. But for someone trying to make this choice, what's the real takeaway? How does this actually help you, the patient?
Well, for you, the patient, accreditation basically means you're choosing a place that has shown a systemic commitment to quality and safety.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strong indicator that they have processes designed to reduce errors, prevent infections, continuously improve care. It just helps strengthen your confidence, that you're in an environment that prioritizes your well-being beyond just how skilled one particular doctor might be. It's kind of a filter, helps reduce your risk by ensuring checks and balances are there.
That's a really helpful way to frame it. Okay, so beyond the clinical stuff and the formal badges, what about the hospital's reputation? And maybe what other patients have actually experienced?
Yeah, that's definitely a crucial piece of the puzzle. Looking into patient experiences gives you that insight into the, let's say, the human side of the care.
Right.
You can look for online reviews, testimonials, maybe even ask the center if they can provide references, although you have to take those with a grain of salt sometimes. Online reviews can be subjective, of course, but looking for patterns can be really useful. And checking, if possible, publicly available success rates or outcomes, especially for the specific procedures you might need, that can be very insightful too.
And how do you figure out their reputation within the medical world itself? That seems important too.
Yeah, that's often where you get some really unbiased information. Asking for referrals from doctors you already trust, maybe your primary care physician or a local specialist you see,
Okay.
they can offer valuable perspectives you probably won't find in a brochure or, on the hospital's website.
Okay.
Also, looking for actual awards or formal recognition for excellence in specific fields that tells you how the center is viewed by its peers.
And, we shouldn't overlook the smaller things either, right? The things that add up to the overall patient experience, amenities, visitor rules, things like that. Comfort and support systems, they're really vital when you're going through something tough.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And then finally, we get to the practical, but totally essential stuff, logistics and the financials.
Ah, yes. The cost. That's often a huge worry, isn't it? What do the sources advise on that front?
They're very clear on this.
Yeah.
You need to discuss the cost of treatment upfront and in detail.
Okay.
That means understanding all the associated fees, getting a handle on the full financial commitment, which, let's be honest, can be pretty substantial for complex or long-term care.
Right.
They broke down potential costs, consultation fees, which might be higher at these centers. Maybe the sources suggested like $1,000 to $3,000, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then diagnostics, the actual procedure or hospitalization costs, potential ICU or post-op care, and then all the follow-up visits. It all adds up.
Yeah, it does.
So it is absolutely critical to understand your insurance coverage inside and out. Ask about payment plans. Ask about financial assistance options, using your health insurance wisely, checking if the hospital's an impaneled or, in-network that's just non-negotiable planning.
Absolutely. And what about location? If the best center for your specific issue happens to be, far away, what should you consider then?
Yeah, location and accessibility. They're practical points you just can't ignore. You have to think about commute time, especially if you're going to need frequent visits or maybe stay for a while.
Right.
If the center is far away, you might need to factor in costs and logistics for transportation, maybe accommodation for yourself or for family members who want to be near. Sometimes traveling for the absolute best care is necessary, but you definitely need to plan for that reality.
Okay. So we've got this whole range of factors: the team, the tech, accreditation, reputation, cost, logistics. What are the actual practical steps someone should take? And maybe just as important, what are the common traps or pitfalls they should try to avoid?
Okay, practical steps. If it's possible, actually visiting potential hospitals.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, seeing the facilities for yourself, getting a feel for the place, having the chance to ask questions face-to-face can be really illuminating. And compare different hospitals based on your specific priorities. What matters most in your situation? Is it one particular surgeon's experience with a really rare procedure? Is it being close by for family visits? Or is it access to some specific experimental treatment? You need to weigh those things.
Makes sense.
And seeking a second opinion, I can't stress this enough, it's strongly recommended. I'd almost say essential in these high-stakes situations.
Yeah.
Getting another expert's perspective just helps ensure you're making a truly informed decision, that you understand all the potential treatment options and what they really entail.
Okay. And when you go for these consultations, what should you make sure you have with you?
Good question. Be prepared, basically. The sources had a good list. Bring all your previous medical records, your latest scans and reports, any referral notes from your local doctor, maybe even a brief written history of the problem, just so you don't forget key details when you're talking, and definitely your health insurance card and ID proof. Having everything organized just helps the doctors get the full picture right away.
Got it. Good practical tip.
The sources also briefly touched on the difference between, say, government superspecialty centers.
Yeah.
They mentioned places like Ames or PGM in the material, and private or corporate hospitals.
Right. What were the key differences they highlighted there?
Well, government centers often provide really expert care at minimal cost, which is obviously a huge plus.
Yeah.
But the trade-off can be often long waiting times and just very high patient loads. Private centers, on the other hand, usually offer more immediate access, maybe the very latest tech, greater comfort generally.
Okay.
But they come with higher costs. And sometimes the transparency around pricing can be a bit variable. So neither one is inherently better across the board. It really depends on your specific situation, your resources, and what your priorities are.
Okay. And finally, those common mistakes. What are the big traps people sometimes fall into when making this decision?
Right. Well, number one, don't rush into major procedures like surgery without really understanding all the alternatives that were presented. Critically, never skip getting that second opinion for a major medical decision. Avoid just assuming that the biggest hospital or the most famous one is automatically the best for your specific condition. Relevance to your exact need is absolutely key.
Right, not just the brand name.
Exactly. And importantly, don't forget to ask about what happens after. Aftercare, rehabilitation, any long-term support programs treatment doesn't just stop the moment you leave the hospital doors.
This has been incredibly helpful, really unpacked a lot. So you listening now hopefully have a much clearer picture of the critical factors you need to weigh up when you're facing this really complex decision of choosing a super specialty medical center, all pulled from the sources we looked at.
Yeah, we've covered, the absolute importance of that expert medical team and how they work together, the need for advanced technology that's actually tailored to specialized care, that crucial role accreditation bodies like JCI and ABH play in ensuring quality and safety across the board, the value of digging into reputation and what other patients have experienced, and of course those essential practical things like logistics and cost. This knowledge, hopefully, empowers you to ask the right questions, to evaluate these centers based on what really matters for your specific health challenge.
So what does all of this mean for your own healthcare journey, or maybe for supporting someone you care about through theirs? Here's something to think about. In a world where medicine keeps getting more complex and information feels overwhelming sometimes, how can proactively seeking out this kind of detailed knowledge, understanding these quality standards, how can that truly transform not just your confidence, but maybe even the actual outcomes when you're facing one of life's most critical decisions?